Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Community and Culture Committee meeting, Monday, the 14th of April, 2025. I'll declare the meeting open at 6 p.m. I'd like to acknowledge the Bidjigal people of the Eora Nation, who are the traditional owners of all lands, water, and sky in the Georges area. I'd like to pay my respects to elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples who live, work and meet on these lands. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land. Moving to apologies, we've received an apology from Councillor Lou for tonight's meeting. I think everybody else is present. So can I please have a motion to accept her apology and grant a leave of absence? Moved by Councillor and seconded by Councillor Ansell. Those in favour? Anyone against? Okay, we'll declare that carried. We have no requests to attend by audio-visual link. The notice of live streaming of the council meeting. Staff and public are reminded that this meeting is being recorded for minute-taking purposes and is also being broadcast live to the public on council's website in accordance with section 5 of council's code of meeting practice. The recording will be made available on council's website. The order of business is as shown in the agenda, which has been made available. Staff and public are reminded that this meeting is open. Doors to the meeting room are to be left open unless the meeting moves into a closed or confidential session according to section 14 of the Code of Meeting Practice. Only if the meeting moves into a closed or confidential session will the public broadcasting of the meeting be suspended. Council's Code of Meeting Practice prohibits the electronic recording of meetings without the express permission of council. Mobile phones must be turned to silent during the meeting. Do councillors have any interest to declare for tonight's meeting? Okay, I'll take that as a no. Public forum, we have no speakers registered for tonight's meeting. So the first thing on the agenda for us to do is to confirm the minutes of the Community and Culture meeting held on the 10th of March 2025. So if I could call for a mover, that looks like Councillor Allison is moving it and seconding is Councillor Mort. Back to the meeting. All those in favour say aye. Anyone against? Okay, we'll declare that carried. And our first committee report for the evening is COM 011-25, the quarterly community property report, 1 January 25 to 31 March 25. And I will, but before we go to hear from our Coordinator of Community Property and Venues, Andrew Williams, I'll call for a mover and a seconder for this report. That was moved by Councillor Dmowski and seconded by Councillor Allison, I think that was. We'll share it around. Thank you. And I'll go to Andrew, who's going to give us an overview of this report. Thank you.
Through you, Madam Chair. Good evening, councillors. So this report recommends that council receive and note the quarterly community property report for the period of 1st of January 2025 to 31st of March 2025. Following on from the previous quarter in which there were no leases or licenses executed, you'll see in this report that there's been great progress for the period with 6 lease agreements and 1 license agreement executed. Also within this period, working in the background and will be presented at future reports as well. In future reports, the expressions of interest for 27 Railway Lands Kogarah, the Poulton Park Sporting Amenities Storage Area, currently occupied by Connells Point Netball Club. We also had the expressions of interest for the Harold Fraser Oval summer season period for the canteen amenities and storage, year-round storage that is, for a license agreement as well. Also, the team's currently working on upcoming expressions of interest for the Kingsgrove Community Centre, the area that's currently occupied by Kingsgrove Community Aid. And we're about to also advertise the 1A Allen Street, South Hurstville, which is under South Hurstville Library, which has undergone a refurbishment. Are there any questions?
Thank you. I do actually have a question. If you could please remind me, noticing that a lot of the sporting amenities are TBC with their contracts, is that to do with the changeover of the season?
No. So Currently, the sporting amenities blocks are TBC because we've got the Football St George head licence or master licence, which expires on the 31st of May this year. So we've been holding any of those sporting amenities blocks that are currently not on a licence agreement over until we determine what to do moving forward after 31st of May.
Thank you. Councillors, any questions of Mr. Williams? No? Okay, thank you. Well, if that's the case, we'll perhaps go around the room. Ms. McKinley, if that's okay.
Madam Chair,
4.
Councillor Allison.
4.
Councillor Anzalotti. 4. Councillor Arthur.
4.
Councillor Demoski.
4.
Councillor Gow.
4.
Councillor Mort.
4.
Councillor Wang.
4.
That's 8 votes for.
Great, thank you very much. We'll declare that one carried. And our next item on the agenda is COM 012-25, which is outgoing sponsorship request, Georges River Local Business Awards. And we'll be hearing from our Manager of Sports, Community Facilities and Events, Margaret Lee. But before we go to that, I'll call for a mover for this report. Moved by Councillor Mort and seconded by Councillor Gow. Thank you. And Margaret, if you could give us an overview, thank you.
Certainly, through you, Madam Chair. Good evening, everyone. So this is seeking council approval for outgoing sponsorship, a request by Precedent Productions for council to be a major sponsor for the 2025 Georges River Local Business Awards. Council may be aware that last year council was also a major sponsor for that award, and it was the first year that the St George Local Business Awards was more focused for Bayside Local Business Awards and a Georges River Local Business Awards. Council historically has been a major sponsor for those local business awards, so dating back over 12 years. And the value of that sponsorship has been assessed against council sponsorship policy, recommending that council does enter this sponsorship agreement, and those benefits are listed on the report, point 10. We also recommend supporting this as it aligns with council's community strategic plan around supporting small business and our local economy as well. So happy to take any questions.
Thanks, Ms. Lee. Before we do go to questions, I just wanted to check in with you about something from last year. I went to the event, which was very successful, as they always are. But it's just one thing that perhaps we might be able to check with the organisation, Precedent Productions, is to make sure that all the applicants, or nominees, I think is probably the correct terminology, are actually within the LGA, because there were a few that were from outside, nominated from outside of the LGA. And if it's Georges River, I think it needs to be fairly exclusively. But St George, it doesn't matter. But if it's specifically Georges River, if they could double check the nominations, that would be great.
Yep, we'll definitely take that request on board. And I recall that you had mentioned that last year as well. So yeah, we'll just double check because it's been a while since, in between award seasons.
Okay, thank you. Councillors, do we have any questions of Ms. Lee?
Yep.
Councillor Wang?
Yeah, quick question through you, Madam Chair. So what's the background of this organization to host this business award? Who are they to organize, to determine who should get the award?
So they've been around for decades, handling the local business awards component that in our area, the St George and Sutherland Shire Leader, they're in partnerships with that news agency or that newspaper business. So instead of the council running its own local business awards, this is a way that someone who is procured on behalf of St George and St George leaders and Sutherland Shire leader to conduct this. They don't only do it in the St George area, but they do it across the other parts of Sydney as well. So they're well versed. They've got a bit of a format. So they have the contacts, the networks for the promotions, the people who participate or are winners. They also then have flow-on effects of being able to market their status as a winner or a finalist as well. So that's their, I suppose, one of their core businesses that they do. They operate these business awards, and from the promotions, the marketing, the judging criteria to the night of delivering the awards, and then I suppose promoting the benefit to those award recipients or nominees as well.
So our grant goes to whom?
So this is not a grant. This is a sponsorship. So we recognise that they are a commercial entity. They're not a not-for-profit. So unlike other events where we have a report to council seeking approval for an event grant, which in those instances requires the applicant to be a not-for-profit. Under our sponsorship policy, it's more broad. So we open it up to commercial as well as non-commercial organisations to propose to council something that could have mutual benefit, and those benefits have been assessed as well as the strategic alignment with council's community strategic plan. And as a result of the assessment against the sponsorship policy, this is where the council officers recommend proceeding with this. So that's what the $10,000 goes towards, for council to have a status as a major sponsor for the Georges River Local Business Awards. And those benefits for the council is for council to have access to the contacts of the list of finalists and winners. So that'll be good for our economic development team. Council has that sponsorship recognition through the print and digital media, as well as local recognition of the council online and on hard copy, as well as allowing 10 council representatives to attend the function on the night, as well as have a council representative conduct a speech on the night as well.
So maybe you can send us the organization's background to us, because we have all been there. It's very successful, but just not clear who the organizer is. You know,
So the organizer is Precedent Productions. So I'm happy to send you a link to them.
Yeah, who they are.
Yep.
What do they do apart from this award to promote the local business and everything? Yeah, if you could share this with the councillors, that would be great. The background of this organization. Thank you.
I would think Councillor Wang that they're an events organiser, so I'm pretty sure they would have a comprehensive list of the sorts of events that they organise on their website. So perhaps if we get a link of that from Ms. Lee, or we could look it up ourselves perhaps, but yeah. Is it? Oh, okay. Yeah, we can, Ms. Dodd just said we can include it in the councillor information bulletin, which would be very useful. Thank you. Councillors, any further questions? Councillor Mort.
I'd just like to congratulate council and the staff for putting on such amazing awards, and Precedent Productions. I think they do an outstanding job every year, and like you say, goes way back many years, and there's great recognition out there in the public. It's lovely to see all the local businesses putting their posters up in store, and vote for us, and I think it gives us great community involvement. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Mort. Is there any other speakers on this item? Anyone like to speak to it, or any further questions? Councillor Gow, you seconded it? Did you have anything you wish to add?
Not at this stage.
Okay, thank you. Okay, well, if that's the case, we might put the motion to the meeting then. Ms. McKinley, if you could go around the room, please.
Madam Chair? 4. Councillor Allison?
4.
Councillor Anzalotti?
4.
Councillor Arthur?
4.
Councillor Demoski?
4.
Councillor Gow?
4.
Councillor Mort?
4.
Councillor Wang?
4.
8 votes for.
Great, thank you. So we'll declare that one carried, and as that was the final item on the agenda for tonight, we can close the meeting at 6:14 p.m. It's a bit of a world record, I think, for this meeting to get through it that quickly. Thank you, everybody, for your attendance, and thank you to everybody who put the business paper together tonight. See you next time. Thank you.